present, except for board member Buck. She no contact and said, come up, she had to be virtual for this evening. She will not be participating in any votes and all that. Also present is Superintendent Wagner. With that, we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We have three things on our workshop agenda. We have Rise Up Red Wing, Grow Your Own, and Human Resource Update. First thing on the agenda is Rise Up Red Wing. Understand we have, each group will probably have 15 or so minutes to start, and we'll allow us some time for questions. Good evening, please join us. Right there, please, yes. How are you?
Is there a way to like put my presentation up anywhere, or are we just gonna?
Does Lisa have it? Did you send it to the school?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think Mandy might have, but
Katie, do you have the presentation?
I do have it, yes.
No,
Oh.
Lisa sticker it up.
Okay.
But if you email it to.
Just go away in a minute. Yep, we got it.
Yeah, there it is.
Okay.
There we go.
Perfect.
Why don't you tell me just your name, please, and everything.
Yeah, I'm Rachel Dawkins, and I am a mentoring program assistant at the middle school for Rise Up Red Wing. And today I'm just here to share with you guys our kind of impact report and the importance of us being in Red Wing Public Schools. If you could scroll down just a little bit past Mandy's whole spiel. So our mission is to ensure that Red Wing offers abundant opportunities for all young people to unleash their potential. We serve youth and families through caring, responsive programming, and we foster shared action among partners committed to supporting our youth. And our vision is that we create a vibrant, safe community in Red Wing for all. Every young person has access to opportunities that help them reach their goals. Youth and families are recognized as collaborators and leaders, and all Red Wing youth and community members are valued, included, and empowered. So how we work, this is just a little kind of graphic about what goes into unleashing full youth potential. So we have our caring, responsive programming, which is basically our mentoring, independent living skills, and parent engagement, which is more of like kind of what I'm working on right now down at the middle school, and our mentoring program here up at the high school. And then we have our fostering shared action portion, which is our youth partnership, our youth advocacy, and our youth leadership. We are currently trying to start and hopefully have it up and running by spring 2024, a community youth council, to be able to have youth's voice be represented in the decision-making of our local government. And then if you could scroll down just a bit more. So this is just a bit more about our caring and responsive programming section. This is about our mentoring. So we have about 51 adult mentors that participate in our high school mentoring program, and about 20 high school mentors that we pay to go down to the middle school to work with middle school students and mentor them as well. We have 91 mentees aged through grades 5 through 12. And we have a total of almost 1,400 total mentor-mentee hours allotted that happened last year. And then we have indicated that 100% of our mentees are that they had a positive relationship with their mentor, and 90% indicated that the space that we offer is safe and productive. And then for our independent living skills section, we have 5 community volunteers, 55 student participants, and 96% indicated that they were learning and practicing social emotional skills, and that they were improving their readiness to enter the world. And then for parent engagement, we have 13 parent participants and 430 staff hours of parents on that section. All right, and then here we are, Rise Up is seeking more adult mentors who want to create a lifelong bond with our youth and to learn more, obviously, riseupredwing.org. And then nearly 80% of surveyed mentors said that they have benefited personally from their relationship with their mentee. So not only is this helping our youth, but it's also helping the adults in our community connect with our youth, and it is actually helping them become better people as well. And then fostering shared action, we have a partnership with 14 different communities, 14 different businesses throughout Red Wing, and we just want to make sure that every youth has the opportunities to learn and lead. And through our community youth council, we are working to create 2 different councils underneath of that to create sort of like more specifically targeted councils. One of which is going to be for community climate, so making sure that the climate in Red Wing is safe and open to all. And another one is through school, I think, is more of a school-based council. And then if we could scroll down just a bit more. So we have 14 participating partners. Those are listed on the screen right there. They all help to sort of fund and connect with youth in Red Wing. And around $230,000 has been re-granted to our partners. Youth Voice. So our Community Youth Council, we are currently recruiting high school aged youth to collaborate with adults on forming the first ever Community Youth Council. And the Community Youth Council is a pathway for young leaders to advocate, collaborate, and shape our community's future. We hope to launch the first iteration of the Community Youth Council in spring of 2024. The Community Youth Council will then develop a work plan with a goal of making meaningful difference in Red Wing community and ensuring youth voice is embedded in decision-making process. So I got the pleasure to actually help with the formation of the Community Youth Council during the summer when I was working as just a mentor. And it is a really great opportunity for a lot of youth to get involved in. It is very much important, and I think that it is very valuable to our community in ways that I don't think we will see the effects of until later, but I think that they're going to be very substantial. So currently we have 16 youth involved in our decision-making, and 7 youth met with elected officials to advocate for educational policies last year. And then youth advocacy, we facilitate opportunities for youth in Red Wing to engage with the community and through service learning and leadership opportunities. And we have our youth leadership. We were able to pay high school youth mentors to mentor middle schoolers, and they had the opportunity to plan, direct, and deliver programming. I was also part of that group. When we first started that whole mentoring program, I was one of the first mentors that they hired there. And it is one of the greatest programs that I have been a part of in my life. It is very impactful for the students, and it is incredible to see their change. And it's also a great opportunity for students who are looking to have an after-school job that is not easy, but it is very rewarding, and it is not your typical high school part-time job. And I would highly recommend it to any high schooler that is considering it. And then unleashing youth potential. So we do have some information that we can released to you guys that is basically survey numbers from our previous year that show our impact on these students' commitment to learning, positive identity and outlook, their social competence, their empowerment, and their family and community support. But we have had a lot of impact on these students and unleashing everything that they can be. I've seen firsthand the improvement of these students from beginning in February to now even. And it is absolutely incredible to see just the impact that a one-on-one sort of relationship can have on a student. And so what's next? So for our mentoring program, we are getting into the middle school and hoping to get further into the high school for mentoring programs and the ability for a safe space during school. And then fostering shared action. We do have the Community Youth Council that is coming up. We're starting to have meetings here pretty soon. And we plan to have that up and running by spring 2024. And then here's just a quick overview of our financials. You can see that clearly, like over 50% of our grants are government grants. And then the other majority are from state and national foundations or local foundations and businesses. And then our expenditures are, a majority of our expenses are paid for the caring and responsive programming end of our whole program. It is basically just funding our mentoring program and all of the parent engagement and stuff like that. And then we have around 41% of our finances allotted to fostering shared action. But that's just a quick little overview of our financials. Then here's just a list of some of our supporters throughout the community. And we have some government grants that are listed there as well. And we are part of Strive Together, which is a network of around 70 participants across 29 states and Washington, D.C. So that's a really good foundation to be a part of as well. And here we just have our staff and our board of directors. And here is where I'm going to open it up to any questions from any of you guys.
Have any questions at all? I'll just start. I know about a year ago, we had a little, when we had the name change, it was at the church up there, we had a little gathering. It was very nice. It was fun to see the kids out there in the gym and, you know, having fun, safe environment and all that. So, no, it's a good organization. So we appreciate being partnering with you and what you can do for our youth in the community is, you know, others are trying to, but it's always good to have things available to our youth, you know, even better than what they are. So, anybody else have anything? Yes.
So do you have a process for recruiting your high school kids to get involved with the middle school program?
Yeah, so we pretty much, we don't have a huge extensive process of hiring. Basically, we allow students to just come down to the mentoring program for a couple days, see if they like the environment there, see if they want to do it, because working with middle schoolers is something that not a lot of people can do, and most people are kind of turned off by it because middle schoolers can be a bit raunchy, crazy, but yeah, so we just basically allow them to see the program for what it is, and then if they want to join us and become a mentor, we allow them to fill out paperwork, and then they're basically hired from that point on.
So is there any training for that?
We do offer trainings pretty regularly. I was in a training earlier in was it October or September that me and my middle school program director ran, and we basically just talked about mentoring as a whole and how it can impact you and your mentee, all of that kind of stuff. But yeah, there are trainings, and typically you just kind of pick up as you go, because not every mentor-mentee relationship is going to be the same, and it's all going to be different. And a lot of it is just kind of go with the flow. You don't exactly know what's going to happen next. So, yeah, but there are trainings that we do offer. Yes.
I can't remember, Rachel, are you in high school still, or did you already graduate?
No, I graduated.
Last year?
Yes.
Okay, excellent job presenting.
Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just to say a little bit about Rachel, so she was a intern for Rise Up last year through the Flight Pass program. And then this year was hired as a program assistant. And is it okay if I if I say what you're currently doing?
Yes,
too?
go for it.
So Rachel was one of the students that took advantage of the Red Wing Promise and is going to school in town here, and is able to work with us in turn with going to school, so it's been great for us and it's been great for her to be able to do that.
Yes.
So Jones, why don't you bring a chair and join us up in front with, by Rachel here.
Well, you don't need any endorsements from Jones Family Foundation because of the work itself. It speaks for itself, but I just wanted to offer words of support. We've been with the old youth outreach, now Rise Up Red Wing, more appropriately named, almost since the very beginning, well over 20 years. And we don't invest in organizations like that without seeing a track record. And their track record is extraordinary in the work that they do. It's a testament, I think, of how nonprofits in this community step forward to do good work with students, with the school system, with the community. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, well, very nice job.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
One quick question. How's the Red Wing Promise going? You getting a pretty good program over there?
Oh, yeah.
Great.
Oh, yeah.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes.
All right. Next thing is, grow your own.
Speaking of grow your own opportunities.
Good afternoon. I guess it's still afternoon, isn't it?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, what is the cutoff? I usually think of 5 as evening, 6 is evening, okay.
It's dark out.
I'm going with 5:18 tonight.
2 hours ago.
So why don't you introduce yourselves, please? Welcome.
Absolutely. Why don't you go
Oh.
away?
I'm Emily Seafelt. I'm a teaching and learning coordinator and also the district assessment coordinator.
Okay, and I'm Allegra Smishek, the Director of Teaching and Learning and Assistant Superintendent. Good evening. So as we're booting, Emily and I are excited to be here this evening to talk about the Grow Your Own program, which has, there's been several iterations with this title. We're specifically going to be speaking to the substitute teaching program that has recently passed through the state legislature.
It's a pilot program right now that is currently slated to run through June of 2025.
So as I'm sure you're aware, there's been a bit of a national crisis when it comes to substitutes, and we've experienced that as well in Red Wing. We are very grateful for the substitutes that we currently have, and on any given day, we don't quite have enough. So the state has been really creative in thinking of different ways that we could increase substitute pools, and this is one of the things that they've come up with. So a few details. Right now, when a substitute gets their subbing license, it's called a short call license. In order to qualify for that license, you have to have a 4-year degree. The short call pilot license, almost the same name, but just a little different,
One little word.
is available to people who have an associate's degree or have worked for a year in a school system as a paraprofessional. So we had several folks interested in this opportunity, and Robertson did a great job of getting the word out via newsletter and our social media. We had our first training on October 26th. We had about 12 people attend, and it's about a 6-hour training. We first just kind of walked them through the logistics of getting a license. It's a pretty complex process. Emily and McWenland did an amazing job doing sort of an intro to substitute teaching and just some tips on how to manage a classroom and things to expect as a substitute. And then we had people from our district office come in, Lisa Ryder and Holly Powers, help people fill out the application and also the paperwork to work for the district. So we really utilized that time. One of the most touching things I saw happen was a woman came in, and as we were talking through the position and going through the paperwork, she said, you know, I actually think I really want to be a paraprofessional, but I've been struggling for 5 months to figure it out on the website. And another paraprofessional who was attending said, oh, well, let me help you. So we found like an extra computer.
We sat down and she helped her fill out the application to be a paraprofessional.
So there's just been quite a few things like that have come up because of this opportunity where we're seeing people reach out. I mentioned on the bottom some additional benefits. It really has spread the word about the need for substitutes. So we've had many, many people reach out who have 4-year degrees. So we've been trying to funnel them to our Teachers on Call, which is our partner for those subs. So that has been one thing that's been a little challenging to navigate, is just explaining those details. Like, this is a specific program for people with associate's degrees that we will be running through Red Wing Public Schools. Our typical process is through Teachers on Call.
And I would say even on our training day, quite a few people had a 4-year degree, but they were really happy just to be there for the training, to get the training we were giving as well, which kind of indicated, as we talked about, really different ideas for onboarding for all subs in the district as well. Because I would say about half did have a 4-year degree probably. And then we're just walking through that. I think it was great to give them the time to fill out the application. We even tried to do a field trip to go get the fingerprints done until we learned that it takes like 15 minutes for 2 people. So that would have been like our day, but we gave them like the contact information to get that part done for the application. So
we may try in the future, if this is an ongoing thing, to try to make that work somehow in terms of scheduling. But we were able to get them the information to complete. It is a bit of a process. So following the training, Paige has been in touch with people. They have to submit their transcripts. They have to get fingerprinted. And then if they get all those materials to us, then we can send in their license application. And the district is paying the fee for the short call pilot license to help get them started. So I think it's a great program to help people get through all those processes so that we can get them within our community and working. We did notice one piece of feedback was that the tours were not as popular as we expected. We managed to do
but for
tours.
a good reason.
Yeah.
It's because almost everybody at training was a Red Wing alumni. They're like, I am good. I don't need to go tour the buildings that I attended school at. So the tours were not super attended, but that's because most of them were graduates. So
Another piece of feedback that was interesting that we've been exploring, a few current paraprofessionals that attended mentioned that they would be interested in being a building substitute, so a full-time position. But what was keeping them from doing that is they would have to go through Teachers on Call to get that position, and then they would no longer have Red Wing Public School benefits. So that was just something that we hadn't really considered as an obstacle before, and we're trying to figure out how to navigate that. Since the training, Lisa Ryder has been working with Teachers on Call. The required rate for the pilot license by the state is higher than what our current substitutes are making. So we knew as we would do this process that we would have to increase those rates as well. So that has been something that we're working on and will happen prior to folks getting the new license. So there won't be any discrepancy there.
because once we get in licenses to PELSB, they do take 4 to 6 weeks to give a license. So
Question, go ahead.
So approximately, when will people be actually ready to come into the classroom and stuff?
We anticipate January. Mm-hmm.
Flu season time.
Yes.
Other questions?
I'm just curious about how much the short call pilot licenses that we're providing for people. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Like the fee,
How much is it? Yeah.
$91, I think, and 75 cents.
Just gonna throw out a
Well, just
number.
throw the exact number. And
I
that's,
think it's a great.
and that's the same cost of any initial license from Pellsby, is that. Renewals are about half.
I was
So.
just curious.
I got a couple. The December 8th, is that the same training that the 26th is?
Yes, we had some people who weren't able to make it, and then also anybody that has interest since we had the first one. So we're offering that one. We had it originally scheduled earlier, but what we're running into, if we have our paraprofessionals that want to become a short call sub, in order to attend our training, we're now pulling them away from their position with us. December 8th worked out well for us. It is a non-student day
For elementary.
for elementary. Sorry, elementary and is a non-student day.
I understand you're working with TLC,
Mhm.
Teachers on Call.
Mhm.
Hopefully, we're not losing them when they go there and say, I don't want to do it now. Are you doing any follow-up to help them through that, or this teacher on calls? And I realize you don't want to take the on-call part
Mhm.
because that's cumbersome, because if you're calling people at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, who's gonna do that?
Well,
Some way to work around it where we can help them, or we can stay engaged with them to let them know that we're there to support them through the process.
yeah, we need to support them through that process because the line kind of is, so if you have a 4-year degree and you get a regular short call license, you're through TOC and that gives you access for like seeing all of our openings, picking them as well. Short call licenses for pilots, short call pilots a little bit different because that would be in-house and you'd be like, hey, Allegra, we have this opening on Friday. We'd really like for you to do that. So that's kind of handled in-house is kind of the difference between that. But it is really helping people with TOC for those that have that 4-year degree.
Well, and just with the newsletter and the social media posts, a lot of people are reaching out. So we're getting them the website. They have our contact information and we're prioritizing the short call pilot license in terms of just like our own bandwidth and HR support, but we will continue to connect with everyone who's reached out.
So if, let's just say you're a current teacher and you want one of those people that you have trained, is there, because I know, I work with TOC, so if there was somebody that I really wanted to come and sub for me, I would call them first, then you can go in and assign that person to your job. Will there be, how will we, if teachers want to use these people over just throwing it into TOC, will there be a way for staff to access those teachers? Do you know what I mean?
We're working on that with principals and building admin assistants, so that we have that kind of internal process. And that was one of the things we wanted to check on with principals early on is like, what is feasible for your office staff to manage? And they seemed pretty confident that they would be able to have a spreadsheet and have a process for that. With
Right, just because it's, if you have people that are good with your kids, that you like, if you can pull them in before they get thrown out to someone else, it's really nice.
Absolutely.
Can I respond to?
Sure.
Are the internal subs would be part of the same call system?
STOC.
STLC, they're all together in
Okay.
frontline,
So
so.
you could still go in and assign
And
them.
our internal subs will have an asterisk, so they'll know.
Okay.
Thank you, Chris.
Is there a concern about losing many of our paraprofessionals to this position? And is there a plan to recruit?
There is some concern. It was a risk we were willing to take. And frankly, like part of the Grow Your Own is wanting to encourage people to become teachers as well. And this is one of the paths to do so. The compensation is also higher. So we recognize that like, while we want to retain really good paraprofessionals, we also want to make sure that we're growing people in their career aspirations. So we had some paraprofessionals attend the training. We have not yet had any that have completed their license. One of the things that I think is a trade-off that I think will end up not losing many paraprofessionals is the benefits piece that they currently receive. Because there is no similar benefit to being a substitute teacher. So I'm not anticipating very many, but some.
Yes.
I think it's really, I hear you saying that you are learning a lot about the substitutes and kind of onboarding as we move forward. I think a big piece in the substitute arena is retaining the subs in our district that have come here and hopefully feel welcomed. And I know some of the feedback we've received as a district is that they come in and they don't know where things are, or where even is like the teacher break room, or where do I find the bathroom key, or, you know, all of those little pieces that we take for granted every single day. And so obviously in a Grow Your Own program, you're talking about those things and pointing those out, but, you know, just to be putting on the radar that I think that's something that our whole sub pool needs some sort of ongoing support and orientation, so that they feel welcomed and a part of our community here.
Absolutely. And this has sparked some really good conversations within our department about that as well. We've discussed ideas like how could we have a very brief like checkout process for substitutes at the end of the day so that we're gathering some feedback from them every time they're in our schools. Also streamlining some of the practices within our building. I know Mick has been doing quite a bit of subbing at different schools, and he's mentioned, you know, like every classroom kind of like goes to the lunchroom a little different. And that might be something we want to like have really consistent for substitutes, and there's probably lots of things like that. So it has really got us thinking about what are the tweaks we can do to make sure that subs have a good experience within our buildings.
Well, we've even talked about like, if there's a lockdown drill, what do subs do? Or if there's a fire drill, you know, we're very high, obviously, on safety protocols in our district, and we want to make sure that our subs know what's expected and what they should do as well. So that would be another piece, another way.
So do you anticipate that if this is the intention of the pilot to perhaps make it a permanent program? Do you know what, because it only goes until 20?
We don't know, because that's why it's the shortfall pilot program. So right now we just know that the license is good till June of 25.
I get my guess would be that the state will look at data, see how many people took advantage of it. Did it in fact help with the substitute prices for districts? You know, what impact did it make? If it's a big impact, I would think they would try to keep it.
Okay. Very, very good. You're seeing anything else? Thank you very much for the great information. Look forward to a report after December 8th too, to see how that one went. Next, we have a human resource update. Paige and Chris. Good afternoon.
Hi.
Still not 6 o'clock.
Still really dark outside though.
Yeah, it's all right. Introduce yourselves and welcome.
Hi, I'm Chris Peak. I'm the HR consultant for the district. Thank you for having us tonight.
And my name is Paige Heimerman. I am the Talent Development, Recruitment, and Human Capital Specialist. So we just have a few things on our list tonight that we wanted to touch base on. I'm hoping it'll come up. But starting off, we pushed out 2024 benefits open enrollment. If it's gonna share.
Yes, ours.
It is on yours?
It's on ours.
Oh, there we
Hard
go.
to see you, but good. There it is.
I zoomed in a bit, so hopefully it'll zoom in. So we pushed out 2024 benefits open enrollment on the 15th of the month, so just last week. This year, we tried to make it more inclusive for our retirees based off of the feedback that I have heard since joining with the school district. We had an informational meeting on the 14th for both retirees and active employees, We made that hybrid, so a lot of people attended in person, but we had a good turnout virtually too to capture that larger audience, especially for the retirees that don't live in Red Wing anymore. Like I said, this year's open enrollment is a longer period of time. We opened it up on the 15th and it'll go until the 30th in hopes that they will have a smoother election in Employee Navigator. However, we've had a couple technology struggles, so open enrollment in Employee Navigator is not quite open yet. We have connected with them and they're hoping to have their issues resolved tonight. And then that'll be open and hopefully it'll be smooth for them. I'm not able to see 100% of what they do as I don't elect myself, but that's just one thing. I'm also very busy working on the STAR report. STAR stands for Staff Automated Reporting. It's a web-based system used by school districts to report employment and assignment information, mainly for our licensed employees, but we also report our non-licensed as well. This school district is also, or this system is also used by school districts to access the licensure/assignment violation report. So who's maybe teaching something that they're not fully licensed in, and then we look at that and fill out a form that needs to be filled so they can teach it licensed. Accountability in public education is very important to PELSB, and they believe that it is critical that licensed educators are working or providing services only in those areas in which they're licensed for. Each year, public school districts and charter schools in Minnesota are required to report their licensures and then the names of those people who hold the licenses and what their assignment is with the school district. This licensing information is also cross-checked with the licensing data that's in PELSB. The due date this year is pushed to December 5th versus November 27th. They have had a couple of technology errors as well, so it's to our advantage that we get some more time to work on that. We've been working to ensure that each employee has the accurate data and assignment tied to them in our smart employee system, so that when we import that data into the PELSB website, that it's accurate and there's no errors, and if there are, we can get them corrected.
I don't know if you filled out a STAR report. It's not like especially secondary, we can't just put in your science teacher, your math teacher. We have to look at every class period and list the class that they're teaching, and then they'll have to see if that would fall within that specific licensure. So it can get, elementary is typically a little bit easier, and then your non-licensed staff, but it's really when you get to the secondary or any of your special areas or when you have split positions, that's when it gets a little tricky, and then you may have, if it errs, then that's the time when we know if we have to do an out-of-field permission or something else, discretionary variance.
The last thing I'll talk about is hiring and recruiting. So we're continuing on interviews and selection of candidates for our open support staff positions, mainly our special education and regular paraprofessionals, as well as custodians. Those have been a lot that we've been hiring recently. We are also working on a better onboarding process for our new hires so that they feel welcome to the district and that they're all getting the same critical information and that all of the forms that they're filling out are legal and necessary. We plan to attend the University of Northern Iowa UNI Job Fair on March 1st and the Sioux Falls, South Dakota Job Fair on February 27th. They're targeted towards our teachers. We're also looking at others, including the Winona Job Fair and UW River Falls. For that, I'm working with Ann Robertson on getting some new marketing material that best describes and shows our love for Red Wing Public Schools. And then I'm also working with our teaching and learning department, Emily and Allegra, to best engage with our candidates at those job fairs.
It's always good to get an early jump because you're competing. There's a huge teacher shortage, so it's always best to get a jump out and connect with the universities and the students that are, or teacher candidates that you want to meet and talk up Red Wing. Another big part that we're working on that'll take up probably a lot more of our time starting in December is the ESST earned sick and safe time. I don't know if you heard about that coming out of the legislature. this last spring. And the legislation is, I think it's good for employees overall. I just don't think it was written for schools in mind where you have so many 10-month employees. And this is really written for 12-month employees. So this will work out really well for 12-month, and the issue really is how we're going to calculate, because there's 3 different ways you can calculate, and we have to go with what's best for which group. So we could do all part-time, we could do, reserve 1 hour of sick time for every 30 hours worked. And it's for all employees. It could be temporary employees, it could be part-time employees, as long as they work, that we anticipate them working 80 hours in that year. And then we'll have to pick a year. And right now, we'll have to start January 1, 2024, and then go to June 30th, 2024. So that calculation will be a little bit different. And then after that, we'll most likely go fiscal, July 1 to June 30th, which will make it a little bit easier. But it's really the calculations and what we're going to do, how we're going to communicate. It's very confusing for staff, and then how are we going to overlay the contracts on top of the statute as well. And we'll work through. I anticipate that there might be some changes coming with the next legislative session. I'm hoping at least to make it a little bit more clear for schools. It's we've had so many meetings, and every time I get more confused after each meeting. They did get the coaching, because coaches are on a stipend. And for internal coaches, it's easy because they're still an employee. But those that aren't, initially we were told they could earn sick and safe time. But now that they're stipend, or they reviewed at the Commissioner of Department of Labor and said we don't have to, because if they're on a stipend and they miss a practice or something, we don't take that away. And so they don't need the sick time. So at least that was one thing. So we've sent in, as an HR group, the MASPA group have sent in numerous, questions to clarify. And we haven't really gotten very many responses, but I think we're inundating them greatly. So just to get some clarification. So it'll be a work in progress. We'll probably mess up, right away and get it fixed. But just to make sure that we clearly communicate to the staff is what we really need to do.
Chris, is there a way for the board or for superintendents to advocate for clarity on that too? What the legislature?
Yeah, you could, advocate to your community legislators here. Would be very nice. And then we can't talk too much about, but we're also busy in negotiations with our collective bargaining groups. Right now we have custodians we're negotiating with, and several of you are on the teams, and the support personnel and the nutrition services.
Gearing up for teachers.
Yep.
Just a quick question, is MSBA involved in the language or the issue about the
Sick and safe.
SS work?
ESST. Yep, they're involved. They've, I think on their website, they've put together some MOUs that some districts might be using. I would advise against putting any specific language, not an MOU in the contracts, because the laws change too quickly. But you can use them. I haven't taken a hard look at them, but you can use pieces of that if you
I was just hoping MSBA would be a lobbying, part of the lobbying.
They are, their reps and their lobbyists are at the legislature for sure. Yeah.
They've also put out a flyer that can be communicated to employees to better describe what ESST is and how it can be used and such. I just recently saw that email.
Oh, the Department of Labor has, yeah.
Any question for the two of them?
Paige, I have a question about STAR reporting. How much time does it take to actually clean up, report in your purview working on this?
This is my first year working on it. In my previous role, when I worked for a different school district, it was a different HR specialist task, as he employed most of the licensed employees. I never really understood how much time it took him, and now I praise him for what he did there. I've worked on it periodically. Some days I'm working 100% on it, like 9 hours a day, 10 hours a day. Other days I can pop in and out of the system and get an hour or two of work, but I've been working on this since mid-September when I started, and I still have at least a couple weeks to go on getting it added. Just to add one licensed employee, if they have no assignment attached to them, it probably takes about a half an hour in the SMART system just to do one employee. You have to verify, their annual salary, how many license days per year they work. You also need to figure out their years of experience for licensing. If they've worked as a superintendent, how many years, principal, how many years, teacher, how many years. And then you also have to, make sure that they were reported on the previous report. I've come across a few that maybe were hired in 2021, 2022 school year that have no assignment attached to them, which means they weren't reported, even in the 22-23. So I've got a lot of those people added. I've also removed a lot of people that maybe haven't been here since those school years, and they were still being reported as they had an assignment attached to them. So it's a big cleanup and a big addition to the process, but we're working through it. I'm glad they pushed the due date out until the 5th, so it gives me a little bit more time.
Yeah, but once, it's just like clean data in, clean data out. So hopefully after this year, we'll have cleaner data, and then we'll just have to add the new people that come on board or terminate those that have left on the STAR report. Yeah, I commend, I'm not that detailed. That would not be, I'd be pulling my hair out.
I'm very familiar with the STAR report because the first couple of people before.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was quite involved.
It's not terrible once you get a process rolling, but if the SMART system is being slow or glitchy for the day, it's very hard to work in it.
Yeah.
I have a big master spreadsheet I've created with all of the information, or most of the information I need. Some of it I'm gonna have to delve into, like personnel files to see how long they've been teaching for, as most of our licensed employees, that field of how long they've been in a license assignment is blank, so I'll have to get that filled out.
Good luck. Hopefully they'll extend it out again.
Yeah, right. They have one person that works for Pelsey that deals with STAR reporting, so she handles all of the school districts and charter schools in Minnesota, so she's got her work cut out for her too.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank you too for all that work. I know that's very time consuming and it kind of takes you away from other things that you're doing. So thanks for that work. And Chris, remarkable. Thank you for helping in our district.
Oh, thank you.
For,
It's been fun.
stepping in and supporting us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. I've learned a lot too.
I bet you have.
We have a couple minutes here. For the last agenda meeting, we're gonna start at including in the future workshops and personnel discussions. So we can have that. So it'll start, we'll have some time at each workshop to discuss any personnel things that come before us. So,
Like general things that can be discussed publicly.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, well, not, yeah, some stuff that, some things that, we should have a discussion as a whole.
Are you planning to do that like second meeting of the month or first, because the first one will usually be finance, or just whenever it?
Whenever there's a need, so.
You gotta be a steady agenda item.
And there might not be some weeks, so.
I'm always curious, just like how we're doing, if we have unfilled positions, like if our building subs are having to be like long-term subs because we have an unfilled position, or just like that kind of information. I think it's good to know, like where we're at with that type of thing.
We can do that in the administrative report too.
Session being open. Yeah. Or
As
with the
openings.
personnel, whichever, wherever it fits.
Sure.
that's one question I do get asked by people, public, is, do we have rest stops?
Easy.
No, well, I mean, no, but how often do they go on, those kinds of questions?
I can tell you in, Principal Beers in here, I know high school does do an emergency rotation daily. I don't know if that's for what you're.
We've had, 4 days so far this year that we haven't used the emergency ball and cold situation.
We're trying,
We're all trying.
doing, it's a great system that you have in place to meet the needs. I know it's not what's ideal, but thank you for doing that, so. All right, let's take, we'll end the workshop then and start the board meeting right at 6 then. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Moved by Ms. Osdorf, second by
Mrs. Bjornstad.
Ms. Bjornstad. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We're back at 6.
I just, it happens every year. Somebody- That would be a hard one.
else have anything they'd like to add to the agenda for this evening? If none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda with the change. Moved by Ms. Schoenfelder, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Bjornsted. Any further discussion? If none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Now, Ms. Rowe, would you please be kind and read the mission
I
statement?
would love to. The mission of the Red Wing Public Schools is to educate and inspire all students as they realize their full potential and become respectful, responsible, and productive citizens.
Thank you. The next thing we have is recognitions and upcoming events. Other than Thanksgiving is around the corner here, anything else coming up? We do have something tonight, don't you, Ms.?
Yep, tonight is the National Honor Society induction ceremony and banquet here at school at 7:00. So congratulations to those students. I also would like to recognize and congratulate our state, just this last week. That was Kira Mulaney, Emma Hopman, Ari Holzer, and Elvana Corey. So that was really cool. And then I just see something about our robotics team. Won a design prize this last week or recently, so that was really cool as well.
Great, thank you. Anybody else have anything else? Any other recognitions of upcoming events?
Before.
Not this month, we'll meet it'll be separate. Okay, we'll go to the
So World Cafe, November 30th, just for everybody to know, it's an open event. And so we are preparing to transform the cafeteria for the World Cafe process. And so that should be part 2 of our strategic plan. So those of you in the audience, I would encourage you to come. Light refreshments, there's a series of free questions that we're asking our community, students, teachers, leaders, whoever, to come and give us feedback. The day before, so November 29th, we will be at Prairie Island Community Center, I believe, for Wagner Wednesday. So at Prairie. Yes, correct. Tori is yes, Erin. I look forward to those two events.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
One more, we also had, I believe it was 2 teams at the Dakota Language Bowl this last month that competed. I don't know if any of those kids are here, but, that is awesome. They did great, so congratulations to them.
And I attended Mr. Hand's class Tuesday morning, and the second time I've been there, I really appreciate all that. Learning the language and the kids in there. It was another fun hour in Mr. Hand's class. That's a great thing. Yes.
I would just like to publicly say thank you to our community and staff for putting on a great veterans service on Friday, 2 Fridays ago for the Veterans Day ceremony, and for all the participants. I know it was well attended and there were a lot of people there, and our veterans really appreciate it. And so I thank Kristen Bray and her committee for putting that together.
Good one. Yeah, it gets, seems to get better every year. Okay, hearing nothing else, public comment. Do we have anybody signed up for public comment back there? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, please bring it forward.
Adding one more.
Those are public comment or attending? That's attending.
Oh, wait. Where's the public comment?
Those sheets. You have to fill out a sheet.
Oh.
Anybody sign up for public comment?
We have one filling out public comment now, the rest are all on the attendee.
Okay,
Can I just say something?
You want to make public comment?
go sign the form.
Oh,
Mr. Bierman will help you.
I will.
He's my principal.
Well, then he better help you, right?
That's okay, you're back.
Please.
Kim, did you sign the public comment? You can go.
Come on up here, please. Did you get any emails? You have a seat right there. We'll get you in just a minute, okay?
PO Box 2007.
Everyone's the public.
I remember him, we ate supper together out at Treasure Island that last fall. Yep, you,
Me and all those crackers.
yep, they all, you were at the same table.
All right, so I've got two signed up. Is that everybody that's planning on speaking?
Could you bring them up here, please?
I will, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks for waiting.
Area?
Area.
Oh, area. Okay, first I gotta read the statement, then we'll begin with, Kim.
Yeah.
The school board would like to provide interested community members an opportunity to provide appropriate public comment. We seriously consider all questions and concerns presented, but we follow protocols to ensure orderly operation of the meeting and the development of an appropriate response. Public may provide comment in person and sign in upon arrival, or public comment may be shared by an email statement to jrbryant@rwps.org or mtwagner@rwps.org or rwps.org by noon the day of the meeting. The statement must include the writer's name and address. Upon comment outlined in the public format of school board agenda, the individual will be invited to attend the meeting virtually and read their statement to the board. The public comment period is not. The following guidelines will be followed during public comment. We expect that comments be limited to 3 minutes per person, and that a representative be selected to speak on behalf of a group of individuals attending the meeting for the same topic. School board members will listen to the public comments, but will not discuss the topic at the meeting. The superintendent and/or school board chair may provide a response outlining the steps that this school district has taken or will take to address the concerns. A summary of the school district's actions in response to public comment will be provided to the school board individuals submitting public comment and/or public at a later date as appropriate. We expect that comments remain respectful and appropriate and not identify any current or former students, their families, or staff members by name. So, thank you very much. Good evening. Kim Mattson? Hudson, excuse me.
I'm left-handed, so it may be a little sloppy.
My daughter's left-handed too, so I just tried to spot that. Good evening. Thank you for coming.
So, I'm here just to speak a little piece about something. You're familiar with some of it. So, I'm here to speak upon the BSU. I feel like it is so overlooked. They are almost, all the kids are almost into 3 months of school almost, and they just not had a first meeting. They first meeting last week, and other groups are going on field trips and everything, and they don't even have a leader. I did talk to Martina about it and Mr. Fuchs about it, but I just feel like it's not important enough for the district or the schools to pick up the pace on it. And that's why a lot of them feel out of place and don't feel welcome in the school district because of that. And I was just thinking about this. I'm like, no knock to no other organizations, groups, cultures, anything. I see everything else celebrated, but not them. I've been living in Red Wing 5 years now, and this school has never had a Black History rally or assembly during Black History Month. I think the only thing they was offered last year was a display case. And that's a concern to me. It's a concern to me that they just mid-November, they just start having meetings. They have to wake up super early just to come to those meetings. And I just think it's not fair. And I really wouldn't matter if I had kids that were here or not. So I would speak up regardless, because I used to be a staff here and I felt the same way that they feel. And I'm just wondering, like a lot of times in this town, you hear everybody say that they welcome diversity, but I don't see it, I don't feel it. And when it comes to, actually, let me take that back, because not every member of the BSU is kids of color. They're not all kids of color. But what I'm saying is, the purpose of it kind of came about because the kids are color. But they just so overlooked to me. And I want to know, what do the school district intend on doing or working on to make them feel more seen?
I believe you're aware of some of this, so you're working with Dr. Wagner?
Yeah, but I can't just put it up. We just can't put it all on her.
All right.
We can't just put it all on her though. And I feel that way. Like, I feel like, sometimes you be kind of skeptical of what you can say or don't say because you don't want to offend a certain group, which I have nothing against any groups. I just want to make that clear. But I feel like, when it comes to that, they're not celebrated. I think this school year thing should be different. I think when Black History Month come, I think they should have an assembly or a pep fest or a rally. You know, everything else is given that, and I think that they should. And this not even them telling me this. This is just how I've been feeling. But I hear them talk about, like, we haven't had a meeting yet, and they just had their first meeting last week. But unfortunately, they have to come to school like an hour early just to have that meeting, which is not too bad, but I think they should just be a priority as well as everything else. So, and when I read the newsletter yesterday, they come out every Sunday, it just kind of not struck a nerve, but kind of bothered me about some things that was named priority. And I'm like, here it is. They've been waiting all this time. And I just feel like they should be a priority too.
Thank you for coming and sharing that with us.
Sally. Sally.
Do I just call him Mr. Cracker, or should I call him Ariel Walker? What is it?
Ariane.
Ariel Walker, please come forward.
You don't even want to This is a place for concern.
Concerns?
Yeah.
I don't even know why I signed up.
Okay, we understand. Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Yes.
I don't really have to. Muddy.
And she's not kidding, he can eat a lot of crackers. So we'll go on, thank you very much for everybody for sharing that with us. Get back to the agenda here.
Oh, my God.
School board reports, we'll go through the reports and then I'll make that, I'll present my question. We'd like to start with school board reports. Ms. Dick.
We had a district advisory council meeting, and Mr. Renlund presented information about flight paths. It was very well done, very interesting to hear the history of flight paths and where we're going and all the work that he's doing. I believe he said he currently has 85 seniors. Maybe a few juniors in there too, but the students signed up for an internship this spring, which is a huge number. And it was a good discussion. It was a very healthy discussion with a lot of good questions and community input as well as his presentation.
Any other reports? Anybody else?
I think it was mentioned before, negotiations. We've got personnel negotiating, custodians, food and nutrition services. So those three are actively negotiating, and I believe that we're getting very close to the end with a couple of those groups. So we'll be bringing something forward, hopefully before the end of the year, to discuss. And then the teachers are also about to begin negotiating with us as well. So we're very busy.
Thank you all for doing that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's not an easy task. I had an LMC meeting today before the workshop, and a couple things there were claims from our health provider for this calendar year so far is about just about 3.4 million, four big claims were included in that 4 million that the insurance companies paid from the premiums that are submitted to, Blue Cross Blue Shield. I think we have, Blue Cross Blue Shield. So they're working through that. There's been a glitch in the navigator for employees trying to sign up for enrollment period for their choices of the 6 plans that we approved at the last meeting. So as you heard from Paige, we're trying to get that resolved there, and it's a computer glitch. Get that done so people can get signed up for the plan they wish. Well at Work Clinic, we're looking at going to RFPs for that and questions that people have as to what they want the RFP to be for the next group that is bidding on it as to what they wish, what the group wishes. One thing said, is there any Saturday hours available? Do you have to fit more than 40 minutes instead of 20? Can we get more times? So they're gonna have a small committee on that. So if you have the board members have any questions on the Well at Work Clinic as to what should be included in that, we're gonna talk about that in December at the next meeting that we have, where we're not gonna come up with that for the RFP. So, yes.
Quick question. Would that be something that we can bring to a future workshop to discuss a little bit more in depth? I think there were some questions about the Well at Work Clinic and how it's working. Is it something we want to continue?
We could have Logan and Lynn kind of chime in there too.
How much does it cost? How much is it saving? You know, kind of just really take a closer look at it at the board level.
Right. Okay. Anybody else have any other committee meetings? Administrative reports.
As you know, we shifted this a little bit, so this month, or this session, you have your building program updates. I'll let you read through there.
Okay.
Those, the 3 I have for you, again, just to highlight, the next Wagner Wednesday will be November 29th at Prairie Island Community Center from 5:30 to 6:30, so I encourage all of you to attend. The Burnside Art Fundraiser, right now, what's being highlighted for the students out there is they're creating their own artwork, which family members, community members can purchase. So it's kind of fun way to fundraise, and then also be highlighting more of our own students as well. So you can order your own children's work. I don't know if you can order other children's work, but I think we should raise more of that. And then just kind of a quick update, our transportation contract is coming to an end in December. So I am going to propose to this board to create an ad hoc transportation committee to take a look at next steps, whether that's an RFP or going to negotiations with our current transportation provider. So ad hoc would just be figuring out who would like to join and have some good conversations with Lisa Ryder and I, as well as working with CISO and First Student. So I think probably a good thing to add on for that. So.
Reach out to you, individual.
Could that be something the finance committee is engaged in?
Yeah, I think we have, well, Lisa Ryder for sure will be, because there's a cost related to it. Right now, just across the board, we know bus drivers are very limited, so it's not even just Loveland is attending. With that, there is a cost of tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 type busing. So having more people at the table for that will be. Those are admin updates.
Okay. Any questions? Yes.
Can I just make a plug for Wagner Wednesday to fellow board members? It has been a very interesting opportunity for me as a person living in Red Wing to get out of my little bubble of people I know and really get to know the people in my community that don't necessarily live on my street or are my friends. And I think it's important for us to get out of our bubbles and meet families that we don't naturally come into contact with, people we don't come into contact. So if you can go, it's a really powerful experience. And anyway, 10 out of 10 recommend Wagner Wednesday.
Thank you.
Yep.
I think it's a great, Wagner Wednesday's a great consultant. She gets out in the community and gets out.
I have a fun little anecdotal. At the last Wagner Wednesday, somebody's like, I just don't get the name of it. Why is it called Wagner Wednesday? And then I told them the name.
All right, consent agenda. Anybody have anything they wish to pull off the consent agenda? There are none. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda? Moved by Ms. Osendorf. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Stipp. Any discussion?
Is there
Go ahead.
a way to, in the future, I have no problem with, the coaches for the winter, programming and the, activities, but is there a way to get that to us before the season starts so that this, I mean, we're several weeks now into hockey, swimming, I mean, is there a way that we can get that
Mr.
before?
Hartman here, so probably, yeah, that could be.
I don't know if there's a way that we can back up that schedule so that we can get them so that it's approved before they start their job. Thank you.
All right. There a motion on the table? By Ms. Osendorf and Ms. Stipp. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. We'll come back at the end on that committee thing since I missed it already. Next thing, Mr. White. APAC American Indian Grant Presentation. Good evening.
Great.
You can pull the table.
I think NASA would like to just give a quick update on what they have planned for the month. Kenny?
All right, come on up, state your name and all that, please. Hello.
Hi, I'm Kennedy Taylor, Western Boy, and I'm last year's president of Native American Student Association. This month for Native American Heritage Month, tomorrow we got invited to go up to a high school, Simile High School in Mendota Heights, and put on a performance for them like we did here at the high school and all the other schools. And then we plan on going to the middle school and going to all the other schools in the district and meeting with all the younger kids and hanging out with them and doing activities.
You did a nice job at the veteran program.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck up there. You want to put the table this way a little bit, Bill, if you want, if it gives them more room there? Michelle, please. Over to you.
I guess, that's what Janice said.
Tell us, everybody, your names and all that, please.
Hello, everybody. My name is Tori Campbell. I was the chair of the APAC up until recently and just handed my job over to Janice here. So I'm just kind of.
Congratulations, too.
Yeah, yes, thank you. Yeah, I also was elected onto our tribal council, so I'll be sworn in here in a couple of weeks. So, yeah.
Good. Who wants to speak next?
Philip White, the Native American liaison for the school district. I also am a general member of the APAC group.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Janice Erickson. These are my kids, Azalea and Dakota. They wanted to come along today so they could be a part of the learning process. Next generation coming up, so I think it's important that they're here. And then lastly, I also wanted to give a shout out to, you're doing acknowledgements for Native American Heritage Month, and our dancers and drummers were honored November 1st at the Timberwolves game. They danced pre-game, then they also danced for the halftime show. So shout out to them for doing a good job and representing our community in a good way.
Thank you for sharing that. Welcome all of you, everybody here in attendance. So.
I don't know.
Okay, I'll start then. We just had an APAC meeting last Wednesday, and we went over some budgets for the district for Title VI
Title VI dollars, yeah.
and estimated MDE.
Mm-hmm. The funding
Funds
from
too,
the
yeah.
new legislation funding that came through.
We are from 2022 to 23. Our state funding was $70,120. This year it's going to be $121,000. That's a $50,880 increase from last year. Our Title VI, which is the federal funding, in 2023 was $24,924. This year it's $30,578, a $5,654 increase. And the total increase for both for this year is $56,534 from the previous year.
Okay.
Right now we have the numbers that we have who students who identify as just Native American is at Cobble is 4, but because of the numbers and the way you do synergy, if you mark white, Black, African American, Native, that doesn't fit in the numbers because of the way the funding goes. Sunnyside is 20, Burnside is 48, Twin Bluff is 42, Redmond High School is 54. And I believe we're roughly around, if you don't go by the way synergy goes, we're up to like 228 kids. And then there's for this last year or this year? That's this year, right? This is the new one?
This is the current.
Yeah, for 2020, for 22, 23, $70,120 for, that was MDE funds from last year. My salary was on there, $35,060. Our graduation ceremony was $10,500. The contract with Prairie Island for the Native American liaisons during the school day was $15,000. Materials and cultural resources was $4,560. Registration and travel to MIA conference was $5,000. For the new projected funding for this, I think in our APAC meeting, we agreed to up it, the materials and cultural resources to $24,000. So we could purchase teepees, drums, that kind of cultural stuff for the students in the district. And then additional funding, achievement integration, like Dakota language class, contracted instructor, $27,930. The ESSER funding, the cultural responsive text was $5,000. And then the Title VI funds, which is also goes to Prairie Island for contracted services. And this is the new one, right?
That's not confirmed, right?
Yeah, that's
We
not
haven't signed off on
confirmed
that
yet.
yet. We haven't signed off on
The
it.
projected one for 23, 24 is 121,000 from the state. And the APAC has agreed that, can I say it?
I think we just didn't go through that.
Okay.
Nothing signed off on
What do
that.
you want to say? Compliant? I mean, pretty much no, but if I had words to say, but I'm gonna say no.
I mean, at this point, I'm not confirmed.
Yeah.
But we would like to.
Yeah. As of now, I believe the APAC group will not be find Redmond School District non-concurrent this year again. On the basis of there's no director of Indian Ed, there's no Indian Ed director, there's no
funding.
There's no
coming from
Indian Ed
the-
department.
When does that
You
funding
can't just
come?
have a Native American liaison and call it an Indian Ed department.
120, when does that come?
That's the projected one for this year. And you can only use so much from IA funds for a salary.
Legally.
And that's where my salary's been coming from since I started.
And long before he was there.
the school district has been paying for this position for decades, or even existed that long. I just know that, what we need is for the school district to step up in a good way, put in some earnest money. Let us know that you're working towards what's right by allowing our students to use the money that's there for our students specifically. Our achievement gap has been going on for far too long. Our students are behind. They've been behind for a long time. And I feel like we need to step it up. I'm grateful for everybody in this room that has been working hard to help us. I know that we've done a lot of good things. I know our team is strong and we're getting stronger. I do believe in everybody here. I believe in the kind and caring leadership, but I think we have a long way to go still. And we do want to work with you, but at this time, we're not concurrent. I really think next year might be the year because we have we have a good path in front of us. We have a lot of good people. We just have to work a little bit harder. Down IA and English.
Yeah, she said it. Yeah, no, Janice, she covered it.
Said it very well, didn't she?
Yeah, she did.
Any questions from?
Yes.
Yeah, we take questions.
Yeah.
So Phil, when I listened to you, just going back to last year's numbers, the Minnesota Department of Education with the $70,000 number and the federal $24,000 number, did you, was all that money spent?
The majority of it was.
Was it overspent or underspent or?
I don't really know those numbers, do you?
I think it was under.
I don't know.
I think we
You know
might
what
have
I'm
been
gonna
under.
suggest is, you've been working with, Dr. Wagner, I believe.
Allegra too, so.
Very good person to work with. If you have put numbers together, we have a personnel committee come before that too. I think that's probably the real place than us to sit here and try to figure it out here. We can get the numbers in front of us on paper, we can see, and we can see if we can work something out.
I know the past APACs have asked for those numbers where the dollars have been spent.
We can find that out, but we've also got, the revenue and the expenditure side, we have to look at. I think that's something I'd be willing to do. I'm on the personnel committee. So unfortunately, we meet 2 days, or we'll meet again in, sometime in December. They meet twice a month, so.
If that would be helpful for having a representative or a few that are interested, we would love to attend those meetings and be able to walk right alongside you as you figure all that stuff out.
Instead of throwing numbers around, which are good numbers, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying there's anything wrong, but it's nice to have everything in front of you, that you guys have, and then we can work, see what we can do. You have my pledge on that, how's that sound? I just said it on tape too.
Are there, I'm just trying to understand, are there specific tasks that you have that, are specifically needed to be addressed?
As is in funding or just in general?
I mean, the director for sure is something that is high on the list and needed for so long. I mean, when I talk to people at the Minnesota Department of Education, just in general, they were surprised that we don't already have that because of the high number of students that we have. There's school districts with less students, native students, and they have more positions available for it. So just to let you know, we're a little behind on it, but I think that it's amazing that we want to work to catch up. So we just need to catch up with the other school districts. And I think maybe once we catch up, even just excel and keep on going, be the leader in the state for having one of the best American Indian Parent Committees, one of the best student body representation. I really think that we could be a leader in the whole state if we put our minds together and do the right thing.
So if you can get that information, and we'll look to see where the money went to our finance person, because that's all coded. And when you get that, Dr. Wagner, we can set up a meeting. Our meetings are, we don't even know the dates. We know the dates right now. I can tell you that before you leave here tonight. But that way we can all sit down at the table and have everything in front of us.
We would love to have a seat at your table. Thank you.
What's that?
We would love to have a seat at your table.
All right. Great. Yes.
I'd just like to throw it too, like, this would be a great opportunity for our finance committee to be involved in as well, to sit down and have an opportunity, I think, to be in part of that discussion when, we're talking about overall spending or reprioritizing what kind of funds are being allocated to some of the services you're concerned about. I think you brought up personnel, but I think
They're asking for a
finance-
personnel, a person, so that's why that's a good spot for it to go to. So, but yeah,
But
finance
it
can look it over
directly
too.
is affecting
Sure.
funding.
We're not trying to stall, we're just trying to do things the way everybody else does too.
And I think there could be better communication if we were to actually be at the table, because a lot of times it's like a huge chain of this person said this and this person said that, and then I'll get back to you and we'll figure it out. Well, if we all just sit down together and like really put our minds together, I think we can make a solid plan.
Can I ask one question? You mentioned earnest money. So can you just elaborate a little bit more about, as APEC met and talked about earnest money, or as you as president or chair?
Well, what our main concern is that we would like to see the school district contribute. We would like the school district to put in earnest money, just as you would with any other thing that you are interested in and you want to partake in. Just lets us know that you're serious and that we are going to be moving forward in a good way.
Yes.
Do you think, with the increase in the funding from the state, do you think there's a big need for earnest money? Or do you think with the increase from the state that's,
We can't use all the IA funds to fund somebody's salary. It's just not possible. It's against the state regulations.
We would all get in trouble if you would get in trouble if we did that.
Do you know what percentage it is?
No more than 50.
No more than 50. Thank you. That's really helpful to know.
But, so you know, Phil right now is the majority of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so there's only a little bit there. So Janice and I have been able to talk, but on behalf of the APAC, we at the table, we will start talking seriously about this. Including our finance, obviously it's a bigger decision for the board to be involved with that, but I think you are correct, we're getting close.
We have 2 agenda meetings.
You have dates?
Yep. I have Wednesday, December 6th at 9 a.m. is our next agenda meeting with personnel, so that would be a good date to come, or. Okay, we might, don't write that down.
Why don't you?
I guess we better get back to you on that.
How about I give my email or anyone else's email that's interested, and then you can add us? Okay, sounds good.
Communicate through her.
I think that would
Okay.
be a great idea.
So we gotta change the meeting, I guess. We'll do that on Wednesday.
Any other, I want to give a space to anybody else who's representing our APAC. Is there anything else that you would like to share? I just appreciate that all of you are here too.
So are you, Cory, are you done now? Are you gonna be on the APAC anymore?
So I will
Chair.
still be involved as much as I can. I'm not sure what my duties are going to be once I get sworn in.
We are very proud of you.
Thank you.
Just one more thing, we have had Hastings reach out to our APAC, right?
We've had a few different
And a
APACs
few different
reach out.
districts around the area reach out to have us help facilitate and, yeah.
So we are making some progress already here, so.
Absolutely.
We got a reputation.
Yeah.
So, great. So is it, just one last question. Is it all that you expected right now?
She got to have a donut.
Well, thank you very much for coming this evening, everybody.
Yeah, thank
No,
you.
We meet again the Monday, the 4th, so we can all come back and meet us again then if you want to. Join us that day too.
Always thank you.
Thank you. All right, the next topic is the Minnesota State High School League Forum. Oh, resolution form. So, Mr. Hartman, do we need, I think we have, Superintendent Wade bringing that forward. Am I correct on that?
Do you want to come and talk?
Yeah, I'm just here to answer your questions.
Okay, no problem.
So Mr. Hartman has been working on a grant to offset student activity costs. And so worked a lot on making sure that we have the right data. Recently submitted, although we probably need this resolution.
Good night. Yeah,
Thank you.
happy holidays, everybody.
So it is a foundation grant, and again, it's just to offset the cost that, the student activity fees, so.
So it's not it's not a resolution, it's approved, it's an agenda, item to approve.
Yeah.
Is there a recommendation to approve? Is there a motion to approve? Ms. Roll, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Tiff. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Second reading of policy 606.5, library materials. Any questions on that? Okay, going forward then, superintendent evaluation tool. Superintendent Wagner.
Great, so. As you all know, you have to evaluate me, so I have worked a little bit with Jim on figuring out the process of how we might do this, so I'm coming with two options. I got a little overzealous and created this 14-page document for all of you to have to read through and write on. And then this morning, as I was under the weather, I thought maybe they just want to go simple. So let me talk you through what I'm thinking. So as we worked with Barb Dorn at MSBA, we did agree on 6 standards and elements. We narrowed that down to 3 standards and elements at the last superintendent meeting, which I just condensed into this document. So essentially, it's the elements, and then of course the Lakers and how you would rank me. Underneath there, I actually put what I would actually give you as evidence of what I'm working on or what my teams are working on to support that specific standard and elements. We would do that for the 3 different. And then simply giving you an opportunity to give some narrative feedback. I know last year as we worked through different evaluations, some of you liked the numerical quantitative numbering and some of you liked the qualitative, and then I think all of you were kind of sat in the middle with how do you have a hybrid. So the first proposal is for me to submit to you my evidence for the standards and elements as selected at the last meeting. You would then actually fill out the survey monkey that I would be sending you while using this document. Now, if you want to go super uber deep into evaluating me, that is not the 14-page document, but once it's filled out, it is a lovely 15-page document of evidence. And the one piece that I included here at the end were the 5 goals that I introduced you all to at the board retreat. I've added in some action steps, and then what I would do is put in some evidence of action towards those goals. So just makes it a little bit longer, but what I thought was comprehensive about this is, yes, we've agreed to 3 standards, 3 elements, but there's so much more that's also happening. So I would just like to get comfortable consensus from all of you, what you'd like me to submit to all of you, keep it to standards and elements, or standards and elements and local district. I'm prepared to do either. Either way, you'll get a survey monkey that you'll fill out. It'll be digitally linked with my supporting evidence. You'll still be doing the numbering scale for the standards and elements, but for the others, the global district goals, you'll be giving me some narrative feedback, suggestions, questions, and prompts for me to think about as we think about final evaluation of the this week.
We talked, Dr. Wagner and I talked about, so this is the midterm, we don't have to be as encompassed as, the full one, probably in May, April, May, whenever we do that one. So, and she also talked about the board expectations that she thought maybe we should do a workshop or something on it at some point, discuss it. Yeah, so. To me,
I don't want to give you more work, but I'm prepared to do the work, to give you what you want for the evaluations.
Yes.
I love both of these documents. I think they're super thorough, and thank you for putting them together in a nice streamlined fashion. That's awesome. For the mid-year evaluation, I really do think that a shorter, smaller snippet is really all that's needed. But when it comes to May or June, when we do this is really good to have right now.
Okay.
So I think it's hard to hold you to all of these things when you've been here 5 months or 6 months.
I am celebrating the fact that I have amazing district teams that are doing some of these things, so I would say you guys should smile on the back there. Among others, Paul Hartman, Mr. Bierman, my leadership team. they're working very hard, to make me look really great. And so I have to make sure that they get credit, but, we are working on many things. Again, I'll send you both, if that's the comfortable consensus, you can kind of see, where I'm thinking we're falling. You will get a survey monthly. It'll be very easy to fill out. Everything is included. There may be some hot links I may substitute so you guys can open up. I know your phone doesn't open up anything, so. So it'll be qualitative and quantitative. It'll be weighted out, and so then Jim will actually get the survey monthly report that we'll all look at on December 4th. Which means you have a little bit of homework between now and probably the Friday before the Monday, board meeting. But if you want to keep it simple, we can keep it simple. You'll have an opportunity to rank, obviously, baseline, this will be my baseline. And then you give me, comments, questions, wonders, suggestions as well. As you know, I like to be evaluated, we all operate on the progress principle, so.
Yeah, if we could have that, we talked about that Friday, or was that Thursday, the 30th, have to turn in by that day, would that give you, since you get it by tomorrow?
You're getting it tomorrow, it's already done.
Tomorrow, so you get it tomorrow, you have it back on the 30th, that way I can come up and jump on the computer up here, we get all put together, so everybody can have it and then we'll go to closed session that night too, for the evaluation. So that document will come in paper form at the meeting probably,
We can print out.
but we're not gonna put it in the packet because it's not part of the packet.
Right, it's private.
It's private, it's personal data that will be saved, and then a summary will be drafted by the board at next meeting to be given to the public on the 18th.
So we'll get this next week?
You're gonna get it tomorrow. It's already
Tomorrow.
done.
By your email.
Okay.
I have
We have to have it done by,
I'll give it to you tomorrow, but you have until the Friday before.
Thursday, let's do
and
Thursday.
it'll come as a survey next Thursday.
I'll write a
Thursday the
little note
30th.
so that you're aware of what.
That way I can
what you
get,
need to do.
I can work on it on Friday.
If you prefer, if any of you prefer the paper copy, because just the digital is not yours, I can get that to you as well. So if you have an opportunity, and we can have somebody to do that.
But it's this.
Yeah, this is actually linked to the survey monkey for you too, so you can have this.
Well,
It's all done. We got draft 1, draft 2.
It doesn't take that long to fill it out, unless you want
Jim,
to put
I
everything
want
in there.
14 paragraphs for every single one. Yeah.
Okay, maybe you want to go to the first, that's we have enough time.
Any other questions or wonders? I mean,
Is everybody agreeable
This is
to the
also-
shorter version?
Yes. I think shorter.
Yeah.
So I'll just stick to standards and elements. So qualitative, quantitative, there'll be a space for narrative, questions, wonders, next steps.
Questions? You guys get that, don't you?
I was thinking we'd be finished here.
Well, okay, one last thing, okay, one last thing, I missed it on so upcoming thing, the other topics. Board member Buck has asked to be taken off the APAC committee. The alternate, board member Bjornsted has agreed to be the main one, and board member Tiff has agreed to be the alternate on that. And then the two, Ms. Buck and Ms. Tiff, will talk about if there's any committees that Ms. Tiff wishes to give up. So I'll need a motion to make that change at this point.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Motion by Ms. Rose, second by Ms. Oscar. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. Anything else? We have the topics here. Anybody else have anything?
I'm not gonna be at the agenda meeting on Wednesday, you're probably at 7, thank you.
Ms. Tiff will do that, filling in, 9 o'clock. Yeah,
Jim is bringing donuts this time, so you don't have to be
I
there.
did say that too.
Do I ever have to do it for the donuts?
Oh, yeah, you should have been doing
I
it
make
a
a
long time
motion.
ago.
I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn so
Thank
Jennifer
you.
can get to the.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Thank you. Have fun at the National Honor Society. That's a great event.
Thank you. Man, I did not see this coming. I thought we were gonna be here till 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
What?
What?